Are you following me? Are you following me, dude?
This week on Are You Following Me, we have with us Dr. Rachel Greenhill. Almost 5 years ago, Rachel moved to Sheffield to attempt to further her career by studying for a PhD in plant biology, specializing in crop improvement, specifically a parasitic weed devastating agriculture in sub Saharan Africa. It's been a long journey of endless coding, windowless basements, and literature reviews, but she found that the best and most rewarding part of her work was actually growing the plants themselves. She took on a small allotment in 2019 and ended up spending all of her free time tending the land and has never looked back since. Rachel grows all sorts of vegetables and flowers while the scientist in her loves an experiment. She's experienced the lows of losing polytunnels to storm damage and crops to pests, yet the garden still makes her feel ever optimistic. The joy she feels growing plants and sharing her journey has been worth every tear, and she can't wait to see how she can build this into her future. So awesome. It's really great to have with us from Sheffield, Dr.
Hey,
Rachel Greenhill. How does that sound? Doctor, huh?
I know. I still can't believe it, to be honest. It's crazy that only this week it's all well pretty much finalized, and yeah, I'm an actual doctor, but
Yeah,
not the sort that you want on an aeroplane. So
yeah,
you know,
right.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
won't be much use in that.
Yeah, yeah. If they're yelling, is there a doctor in the house? You're not going to be raising your hand, right?
Yeah, yeah. Unless they want me to talk about plant diseases or something, but yeah, probably
Right,
not.
right. All right. Well, let's talk about what sort of doctor you are. A doctor in plant biology. What gained your interest in moving that direction as far as a profession?
Um, I mean, I I started off gardening when I was quite young. My mum would get me out in the garden doing the weeding, just the basic sort of things that every child
Yeah.
has to do for chores. But yeah, I suppose I started my first job, first proper job at a rubber company. So I was actually a scientist. I was basically working on rubber trees in the UK,
Okay.
so we didn't actually have any of the trees with us.
Right.
But we had some seeds, and we rubber trees are very very hard to grow, especially in the UK. With the climate is just not the one.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I started growing from there really, and then I did a master's and started growing tobacco, which is like a sort of scientific plant, nothing
Yeah.
recreational about it.
Right.
And
Right.
wheat, that sort of thing. But yeah, it wasn't until I moved to Sheffield when I started my PhD, and it's a lovely area here. So
Yeah.
I we're surrounded by the Peak District, so there's loads of big mountains and hills, and just it's a beautiful area.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to be outside more. So I registered for an allotment, and yeah, I've just been doing it for a good few years now. But I'd never go back. I just love being
Right.
outside too much, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You got enough of being stuck indoors with all the studying and everything, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't know if I would recommend a PhD to anyone. I don't know if it's worth the stress, but
It's a lot of
yeah,
work, huh?
absolutely. A lot of the work that I did on my PhD is based in these sort of controlled environment chambers. So you imagine you go underground in this sort of bunker sort of area. You've got
Yeah.
these, it's just propagation chambers basically. But you've got irrigation systems, bright lights, and
Yeah.
I mean, at least you've got light. You might not have natural
Right.
sunlight, but yeah. But yeah, I spent days and weeks and months down there. So
Right.
yeah, but I'm fed up of that now. So I'll
All
I'll just
done.
be
All
outside.
done. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Exactly. So let's talk a little bit about allotments for those watching us in the States. Allotments are pretty much what we call community gardens, I think, here in the States.
yeah.
Um, let's talk a little bit about your allotment. How did you come across, or where, that sort of
Mhm.
do you have to like get on a waiting list, or is there sort of
I
sort
mean,
of
it's a question I get all the time from because I mean I have quite a few followers around the world, to be honest.
yeah,
But yeah, it's pretty much a sort of piece of land that you rent from the local council, like the local government. Um, and I only pay. It's not very much. I think mine is quite expensive based on the countrywide sort of rates, but it's about £80 a year,
okay,
which is probably similar dollars wise. But
right,
yeah, you rent this piece of land, and it's solely for the purpose of growing fruit, vegetables, flowers, that sort of thing. So you have to use it for that. You can have structures like greenhouses, polytunnels, sheds, ponds. It
yeah,
depends on different sites, but yeah, I applied for mine just after I arrived here, and I was put on the waiting list. And I think after 3 months, I got my half plot, which is I think it's 110 square meters. So I'm not sure what that
okay,
is in yards,
right,
and yeah,
yeah,
uh,
yeah. For all of
um,
us in our
yeah,
feet and yards that we go by here, but it's
yeah.
a pretty good sized space though, right?
It's not bad. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah,
Yeah, it's been really good. But I was only on the waiting list for 3 months, but a lot of people wait 5 years, 10 years sometimes, depending on the
yeah.
site. So I think I
I,
was very lucky.
I've
And
heard about
then
that as far as like, community garden plots and so around the states. Just kind of depends on where you're
yeah,
at, but some
yeah,
places the waits can be like a lot, years even.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Well,
I
good thing
think
you only had to wait 3 months. Didn't
I know. I think because I applied pre-pandemic as well, so I think that helped because with the COVID situation, everyone wanted to get outside as much as possible. And
right,
in the UK, we had these sort of little bubbles. So,
right.
we could go to our allotments or, spend loads of time in the garden.
Yeah.
So, yeah, as much time outside as people could get, really. So, yeah, I
Well, I
think
was kind
because
of lucky
everyone,
then to be able to come across that at that time.
yeah,
Be able
yeah,
to have that available for, that time when, when everybody's, limited on what they're capable of doing, you're actually able
yeah,
now to get out and do something that's, just really great. Gardening really helped me out a lot during that period of time as well too. I
yeah,
did a lot of it.
yeah. I bet your
Yeah.
garden never looked better than in 2020.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. It got more
yeah,
attention from me than it usually does.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
what are all the sort of things that you grow there in your allotment? What are some of the
God,
I bet you can grow a lot of different stuff, huh?
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, my climate, I think I'm about zone 8B or something like that, I think.
Yeah, that's a
Um, so it's not too bad, but we do get frosts, obviously.
mhm.
But and my last frost date is probably end of May, something like that sort of
Mid-May, end of
area. But
May. Yeah,
yeah.
I think I'm a 8B here as well too in Southern
Oh, okay.
Oregon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I can grow anything really. I'll
Yeah.
the things that I've struggled with most are probably melons because heat,
Right.
and
Yeah.
yeah, celeriac, but I don't know why. I just can't grow it. But yeah,
Really.
so melons
Well,
and celeriac.
yeah, the Celerac, I am actually trying for the first time this year. I had a friend of mine give me some plant starts
Ah,
recently,
right.
so
Yeah,
they're just about to go out into the garden right now.
yeah,
So as we're again approaching, we're debating right now. This is the big debate time of the year. Do I go ahead and start putting things in the ground, or do I wait for my last frost date? And we've had some
yeah,
temperatures and some weather around here that are like, you know what? I think I'm just gonna go for it because
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
forecast looks like that we're getting close enough to our last frost date, with some really good overnight temperatures in the 40s. So
Yeah.
I think it might be go time for us this year. But again,
Yeah.
it's a big debate every year. Do I
Oh, I
do I
know.
do it or do I not?
Yeah. You'll see me probably at like 11 p.m. at night, running with a big cloth or like a just fleece over to my plants, just cover them as
just
quickly as possible. Yeah,
just to make sure.
as soon as I spot that the temperature's changing. But yeah, I'm very much just bung it in the ground and see what happens. Like what the
Yeah,
worst that's going to happen is the plants die. But I
that's
mean,
right.
I usually have a million spares anyway that I'm never going to do anything with, so it's not
That's
the end
right.
of the world. Yeah,
Always seed more than you need. That way, just in case something happens, something goes
yeah,
wrong.
yeah,
It's also a good strategy for getting ahead of the growing season too, is to have some extras on the side just in case. But if everything works out, those original
yeah,
ones will have a good head start on everything.
yeah, yeah.
Definitely.
But
Yeah,
I think
awesome.
the biggest thing that I like to grow is probably tomatoes and sunflowers. I think they're the main two that I grow well, I think. Well, I like to think.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. In fact, that was going to be one of the questions was going to ask you about. You're putting on like a little event for your Instagram page, the Sunflower Grow Along. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, well, it's just a little something interactive. For the past couple of years, I've just done sort of a little grow along with my followers, and yeah, I think sunflowers are one of those flowers that are just they're really easy to grow, or
Yeah,
I like to think they're easy to grow, and they're just
yeah,
so rewarding. Um, and
mm,
because the whole neighborhood can see them, from like
yeah,
miles off. You'll grow really tall ones, and you'll always get comments, and yeah, I just
yeah.
think
Not only can your whole neighbors see them, but if you're growing them pretty successfully, next year they might have some of their own.
yeah, exactly, yeah,
The birds find a way to spread those seeds all over the place, so
absolutely,
every year now I get volunteers of sunflowers
yeah,
popping up all over the place. I
yeah,
try to keep
yeah,
them in one space because I think it looks great, with them
yeah,
growing in this one area and all of that, but I'll
yeah,
find them all the way out in the front, which is, way away from where you think that the seeds would end up. And then
yeah,
therefore, that your neighbors have got them too. So
yeah, yeah. And they take a lot of water as well, so they're
yeah.
gonna suck the life out of everything around the soil. So you've got to be
Yeah, yeah,
careful having too many of them.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's why I like to have them in their own little space, and I, grow a
yeah,
few different varieties because that's another great thing about sunflowers too, is there's so many awesome, cool looking ones too that, you don't normally think of. Most people think of the big, bright, you know, sunflower, the big ones, but there's all
yeah,
sorts of varieties, red ones, little fluffy
yeah.
ones, all sorts of them. So
Yeah, the little you can get the little teddy bear
the
ones.
teddy bears, yeah,
Yeah, they're so
those
cute. Yeah,
are
yeah, really lovely.
Yeah, so definitely I'll have to share some of my sunflowers with your grow along there for sure.
Yeah,
And also recently you did also launch a YouTube channel as well.
yeah, yeah. I
So how's
I
that going
ventured
along
into
for you?
YouTube. Well, it's obviously a big change from holding your phone like that to like that. But
Yes,
you know,
that's the big
yeah. So half the clips I have aren't suitable. So it's
right.
yeah, it's funny. It's a whole new world, YouTube, but no, I'm
Yeah.
enjoying it. I'm
I'm trying
editing
to
a vlog.
figure out the opposite. See, I've been
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
YouTube. That's kind of where I pretty much started. So I've always had the sense of doing the filming horizontally, but I'm
yeah,
trying to venture more into shorts and doing that sort of thing where now I got to get used to propping the phone up or taking
yeah,
footage twice even so I can do it
yeah,
this way and that way.
yeah. No, it's so complicated. But
Yeah,
yeah, no, I'm enjoying it. I'm just editing a vlog this afternoon actually, so hopefully have something up this
that's
evening. But yeah, no, it's
that's
all
awesome.
fun.
That's great. And what we'll have to do is put a link down below in our description too for your YouTube channel, as well as being able to follow
Yeah.
you on Instagram at rachel's.allotment there. Gotta make sure you put the period in the middle there.
Yeah.
But awesome. It was really great to have you here on the show and talk about all of these great things going on, especially having a doctor on the show. It's really great.
I know. Yeah. I still feel like a
Congratulations on
novice
that
though.
accomplishment. Yeah, well, it's another thing that we say, and I think we talked a little bit too, just with my previous guest on our Mark. Is that gardening is always learning. You're always learning, and that's a great thing about it. Is that even many years into gardening that I've done, there's just so many things I'm still learning, and I feel like I'm a novice at too when it comes down to it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's a great thing about it. There's so many things to learn, so many things to try. Gardening is just so rewarding when it comes to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, awesome. Well, thanks again for joining with us here
Yeah.
today. Thanks for
Thank you
taking
for
the
having me
time.
on.
Absolutely. It's great. Thank you so much. And again, go check out Rachel's channel. We'll put a link down in the description below, as well as following her on Instagram, again, at rachels.allotment. Thanks again, Rachel. You have a great day or
Great. Thank
evening.
you.
It's
Bye.
nighttime for you
Yeah.
guys.
Bedtime.
Bedtime. All right.